to unleash hell.
I'm currently borrowing a Razer Hydra from a friend of a friend, so I was keen to try something for the DK2 that really showed off arm movement and positional tracking. Luckily, last month saw the release of Temple of Merk, a fantasy-themed, arena-style melee combat game. Keyboard and mouse, as well as gamepad, are supported, but this is clearly a game designed for use with the Razer Hydra. You really want to swing those weapons, so I'd recommend clearing a wide space before you begin. I found calibration to be easy, well communicated and effective. The weapons responded accurately and didn't drift out of alignment very frequently. There's a decent array of different weapons that seem to deal different amounts of damage relative to their reach. There's also a magic staff which fires projectiles, a shield and a torch. The torch doesn't seem to be very useful at all, but the lighting effects, particularly on the skeletons, are pretty. Temple of Merk features the best avatar mapping I've seen in VR so far. Not only do your arms respond reasonably accurately to the Hydra inputs, but if you lean or crouch, that movement is mapped nicely to your avatar as well. Of course, it's not perfect all of the time, but it is accurate for the vast majority of the action, and it's undoubtedly an effort that has paid off. The monster design is excellent, all the enemies look and sound like credible threats, and there is a wide enough variety of them to keep things visually and atmospherically interesting. There is a degree of strategy to fighting different types of foe as well, depending on their size and how they're armed. Some duck and dodge, while others lumber towards you, telegraphing their attacks, allowing you to parry with a weapon or block them with a shield. Unfortunately, like with many Wii games, it is too easy to fall back on waggling your wrist or just wildly hitting your foe until they fall down, discouraging natural motion and harming the immersion if you let it. Still, awareness of your surroundings is essential as levels quickly escalate to having you face multiple enemies from multiple different directions. The environmental design is also really nice. There are currently 3 different arenas and a training area. Each of the main levels is distinctive, reasonably expansive and lovely to look at. The first is a castle courtyard, complete with statues and ramparts. If you leave the area, you're scooped up by a dragon who flies you back to the centre of the courtyard. This is a cool addition, and I didn't find the ride nauseating, but it does come completely out of the blue, and I think it would be improved by telegraphing what is going to happen to the player a little more. The second area is a cathedral that features lots of intricate little details, desks covered in papers and scrolls, and beautiful coloured beams of light streaming through the stained glass. The final area is an otherworldly cave featuring vicious mushrooms who hurl explosive spores at you even before the fight has officially begun. Visually, all of these environments are captivating, and they're all begging to be explored as well. Unfortunately, this rubs up against the fact that the core gameplay is simply that of an arena battle, which encourages you to find a narrow path to take on your enemies one at a time, rather than move around the map. Ultimately, the game is quite similar in many ways to Oculus Maximus, and is prone to some of the same criticisms. Manipulating melee weapons with motion controllers is cool, and does work on many levels, but its weaknesses, like the lack of haptic feedback, come into sharp focus when that's all the game has to offer. Don't get me wrong, Temple of Merk is a blast, and does enough to prove that these mechanics would support an adventure RPG, but the fundamental limitations mean I don't think they can sustain a full game on their own. I'd like to see Temple of Merk develop into more of a dungeon crawler, with moments of quiet exploration to punctuate the combat, and allow you to enjoy the brilliantly designed environments. Adventure-style pacing would also allow for the occasional inclusion of more intricate boss fights that encourage and teach more intricate swordplay, along the lines of Zelda Skyward Sword. Temple of Merk is a really great experience that does a really good job of bringing full body immersion into a game. The avatar mapping work is really nice to see realised, and the environments evoke intrigue and high adventure. It's just a shame that the game doesn't have much substance remaining after the novelty of the melee combat eventually wears off. That novelty does last long enough though for you to hack and slash your way through most of the content provided, and there's no doubt that it will evoke squeals of glee and the occasional cry of "come at me bro" from whoever gives it a try. If you have a Razer Hydra in need of some love, then Temple of Merk is just the excuse to dust it off and plug it in. If you know of any Razer Hydra demos that you'd like us to take a look at, please leave a comment or get in touch through our website. And don't forget to hit subscribe.